Hi, I'm Manny Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Virgo for January 2019. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, check out my blog. Also, if you would love to have a live reading with me, I would love to give you the insights that I have for your chart for this year and beyond, and check into anything else that you want to look at. Also, if you resonate with my style of teaching, then you will love my Astrology Apprenticeship program, which may be enrolling right at this very second, depending on when you're watching this. You can get more information about that going to anniehelpsyou.com. So what's going on in this new month, in this new year? We have a new clean slate on every level astrologically. Some new years don't feel like new years because they are shrouded in retrogrades, but not this year. This year, we're completely done with the personal planets being retrograde in their post-shadow periods. And in fact, we'll have all of the planets moving direct. That is a rare occurrence, and it brings lots of momentum, lots of change, lots of new beginnings. We've got 2 eclipses, bam, bringing all kinds of things that are expected and hoped for, some other things that may not be expected or hoped for that matter. But lots of radical changes ahead. In the December report, I talked about the implications or potential implications for the first eclipse for each of the Virgo placements. Now I'm going to go into the second eclipse and also some of the other things that I see as potential manifestations for Virgos. Besides all of these energies bringing in new chapters, we also have 3 supermoons in the first 3 moons of the year that are at their earliest degree. And when that happens, each of those is a big new chapter. Of course, one of those is the eclipse, and then there are 2 more after that. So that's really indicating a first quarter of massive change, massive momentum, things that have been slow and stodgy where you feel like got to the point where it's like, oh gosh, nothing is ever going to move forward again. So everything is going to change now in a very big way for many people. So we're going to check that out. Also, in general, when the planets get into Capricorn, this is an amazing time for Virgos because as the personal planets move into Capricorn, they make beautiful aspects to your placements. So this is a wonderful time of year in general for Virgos. So let's take a look at the charts. The visuals that I've been doing have been getting such great feedback that I'm going to continue with that. So I'll show you the picture for the early, middle, and late degree placements from the perspective of the chart. So let's transition into looking at those charts now. Hello Virgo friends. So if you're still with me, that means you are interested in the juicy chart visuals. That are my favorite thing, because I'm an astrology teacher, so this is the most fun for me. I don't want to just tell you what may happen. I want to tell you why, so that you can understand this beautiful art and science and use it in deeper ways for your conscious evolution and your happiest life. So first we have to determine whether you're in early, middle, or late degree placement. So those of you who already know, just bear with us a second for our new people. In general, early people are going to be are August born. And this is a roundabout estimation. It can vary by a couple of days and a couple of degrees, but it's close enough. It's not the kind of thing that you have to get exactly on the line, just a kind of estimate. Okay, so early is our August, and that's 0 to 9 degrees if you're watching for your rising or moon, or you happen to know your sun degree. So go by the degrees over the date. That will be more accurate. Okay, so then middle degrees would be like the first 10 days or so of September, and then that would be 10 through 19 degrees if you're watching for your rising moon or you know your sun sign degree. Then the late degrees, you're going to be around the 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 through 29 degrees. And these reports work whether it's your rising, your sun, or your moon that you're watching for, because what's important from the perspective of looking at the horoscope is what's on the ascendant. What's on the ascendant is like the glasses that you put on. It's the viewpoint that you're looking at the cosmos through. So whether you're looking through your moon's viewpoint, or whether you're looking through your sun's viewpoint, or whether you're looking through your rising sign's viewpoint, if you have a strong, a Virgo placement in an important area like that, then it's one of the windows through which you will experience the current transits. Okay, so that's why I always tell people watch for your rising sign and sun sign. Some people also do the extra step and do their moon. That can be a little overwhelming. to try to do all three, but definitely sun and rising are like different windows out of the same house. I'm going to just take a second. I get this question a lot. Why, when I look at the Virgo, okay, so let's say Virgo is your sun. The question is, why, if I'm trying to match up this chart and the houses with my natal chart transits, is it not matching up? And that's because your natal chart transits puts your rising sign on the ascendant. So to make the houses match up, you'd have to watch your rising sign. Then the house placements would match up. This is a solar chart. It's different than your rising sign chart, but they're both just as accurate. And the way I always say it is like, okay, the rising and the sun are like two different windows out of a house that you live in. So let's say out this window, there's mountains. I know you love my beautiful artwork. Okay, and so this is the view that you look out. There's mountains, there's deer, or whatever you got there. And that's true, that's happening. Then over here, there's a street, and there are cars going. And that's true also. So one view doesn't negate the other view. They're just happening at the same time. And by watching both, you're getting a deeper picture of what it's like to live in that house. So you're the house. And out of your eyes, out of your experience, through these different vantage points, there are some different things going on, but they're both equally true at the same time. Okay. So now that we've established that, and now we've established early, middle, and late, we can go into what's going on here. Now, if you did not catch whether you're early, middle, or late, please go back and rewind and figure it out from the guides that I gave you. My assistants and I try to respond to everybody who posts, well, all the nice people that post anyway, which they mostly are, thank goodness. But we're overwhelmed. So if you can help us out by figuring out if you're early, middle, and late, or late rather than asking, then that would be helpful to us. Okay, so now that we cleaned up our little house here, now we can look at what's happening. Okay, so we designate early, middle, and late. Well, I do, because there's a difference in the charts and there's a difference in the timing. This is more complicated astrology. It's a royal pain in the rear, which is probably why most people do not want to deal with it, and I don't blame them. I fully support them. But there are going to be certain differences. Okay, so for instance, our early people, you can see the sun is in the 5th house. Okay, early. So the sun brings warmth, it brings focus, sometimes it brings a spotlight on what has to be fixed, kind of like when there's a light in a room that's a brighter light, then you see the cobwebs and the cracks. But then you also see the beautiful coloring in a certain piece of furniture or something, right? So the sun just brings more truth, more focus. Sometimes it shows us problems that need to be fixed, sometimes it shows us things that are already awesome. So for you early degree people, and some of you middle degree people, it won't start out right at the beginning of the month, but very soon after, like in the first part of January, you middle degree people will be having the sun there in the 5th. We'll talk about what the 5th is here in a minute, just once we get everybody on the same page. But you can see for the late degree people that sun is pretty deeply into the 4th house when we're starting the beginning of January. So what we're about to talk about with the 5th house being accentuated with the sun, that is going to be true for you too, but it's going to be staggered by several weeks. And the amount of time it's staggered will depend on the exact degree. Okay, so for the late degree people, you still have the sun warming up, bringing focus, showing you things that need to be dealt with in the home and family, childhood, things that are affecting you now, real estate, anything having to do with a family you want to create or your family of origin or a home-based business or anything like that. Late degree people, you still have, a good bit of time there. And some of you middle degree people, you'll have a little bit of time with that still, depending on your placement. And then it will move on to the 5th house for you all. But starting right from the beginning for early people, soon for middle, the sun is warming up the 5th house. And this has to do with children. I always like to write my little baby when we're talking about children. So anything around children, childbirth, child rearing, highlight focus being brought there. Some, issues may have to be worked out. Some things may be discovered. This could also have to do with a project that's a baby. Many people who don't have babies have their projects, their creativity as their baby. And a lot of people who have babies still have their creative babies, right? So this is the energy of baby projects, things that you're holding close to you, that you're working with, that you're creating. This is a house of creation. So bringing focus there to your creative projects. And this is an amazing time for launches, amazing time for things to come in. So something else I want to mention too, and this is true for early, middle, and late, that Virgo energy makes a trine with Capricorn energy. Okay, so we love trines, always talking about trines. So as the sun and then later Mercury comes and moves into the different degrees of Capricorn, when it locks into your degree of your Virgo placement or placements, then it will bring you a beautiful blessing. Sometimes they're very apparent, sometimes they're not, but in general, the energy is really smooth. It's energy that you can jive with, it's like, it's down to business, it's productive, it's grounded, it's, tangible. So in general, this time of the year is very supportive to Virgo energy, and it's more comfortable in some ways than that kind of crazy, frenetic Sagittarius energy that doesn't really blend as well with Virgo energy, unless you have other placements within you that match with that. But in general, Capricorn is much better. Okay, so the fifth house also has to do with romance and true love and dating and anything like that. So there could be focus brought there, for better or worse. This is an amazing time for online dating. There's some challenging aspects this month. I'm not going to sugarcoat those. I'll talk about those in the general report. And there are the eclipses, which are super intense. But the planets, as we've discussed and we'll discuss more, are all direct. So the chance for meeting new people, having new chapters in anything fifth house or anything period, are really expanded. We've waited for this for a very long time. So if you've had to kiss a lot of frogs, maybe your prince or princess could come in at this time. So, fifth house. Fifth house also has to do with just having fun. So fun, hobbies. I always call it like a bucket list house. Things that you've always wanted to do. This is also a house of hidden talents. So if you try different things during this time, you may discover something that you really love or that you're really good at that you would not have known if you didn't follow through with that thing. We all have things that we're like, gosh, I always really wanted to ... So this could be a really good time to do that ... Okay, so one of the highlights that I want to discuss is this lunar eclipse. Okay, let's get our baby out of here. Actually, we're not going to get the baby out of here just yet because the lunar eclipse is at 1 degree of Leo, almost 1 degree of Leo. This is the last eclipse in an eclipse cycle that's been going from 2017 through 2019. And so anywhere on this timeline, eclipse-related stories from the Leo-Aquarius polarity could happen. But around the actual eclipses is they're hot spots for things to happen, notable things to happen. And this could be involving children or future plans for children or creative projects. And in general, Aquarius and Leo has to do with the balance between your own passions. So it's like me and the world, me versus everybody. So doing your passion more in ways that help to support communities or the world. Balancing people pleasing, finding healthy ways to balance the polarity of your own passions versus what other people think you should do and versus doing stuff for other people. So that's a polarity of like a storyline that's been going on from 2017 to 2019. And if you think back to 2008 and 2009, both of those full years, there were similar themes because this is when the Aquarius-Leo eclipses happened before. So you may see things you were working on then, or the whispers were working on then, or that you're bringing them up to a different level now. But either way, this is the last one in the cycle, so these chapters are closing now. If you haven't already listened to my December report, then definitely do that because I talk about the first eclipse of the month. Actually, just remember this one's on the 21st. The second one, the Leo one. But the The first eclipse on January 5th is in the Cancer-Capricorn polarity, and I talk about where Virgos can experience that, or will likely experience that, and other implications of that polarity of eclipses, plus the timelines for that one. I don't have enough time in each video to do one, so I break it up by month. And plus, you can start to feel the eclipses definitely the month, sometimes before then, and sometimes even after. Okay, so to do a really thorough job, you have to hear the December report, get that piece, and then add it to this. So now let's look at where this almost 1 degree of Leo eclipse is going to happen. So for you early degree placements, it still will be like 11th house, but like on the line to the 12th house. So some of you may experience the eclipse energy in the 12th house. The rest of you, and even the early, still have a chance to experience it in the 11th house. And middle and late, you definitely have it there. So eclipses, especially lunar eclipses, tend to bring drama. Okay, and sometimes this is good drama. This is like, yay, it's something you've been wanting. It's an accomplishment. It's a recognition. But sometimes it's like not good drama. So I always say leave a little room. See, leave a little room around these, this time to just kind of show up for whatever is there. Hopefully it's good drama for you. Things coming to completion, coming out to the lights. So the 11th house has to do with, and remember all of you have a chance of experiencing it in 11th house, has to do with friendships, social media, internet-based projects, community-based projects, groups, teams, large organizations, humanitarian efforts. So endings, chapters closing, or in some cases beginning, or fruition in those arenas. This can also have to do with technology or inventions, things like that. If you have to patent something, this is a really great month for that. If you want to get your business online or expand your online presence, this is a really amazing time for that. This also has to do with social media. All social media is in there. Friendships, acquaintances. Some people may experience a falling out with a friend, and it could have been going on for a couple of years. And this is, like another chapter in it. Or there could be you going to another level and maybe something is healing, So sometimes people will become estranged from a friend at this time, or something will happen to them, like you move away or they move away, something they get eclipsed out in some way. And sometimes they just go through something, or you both go through something together. Or there's some conflict with an acquaintance, or again, it could be positive, like there's something amazing, a collaboration, something like that. The early degree placements may also feel this in the 12th house. The 12th house is a house of deep psychology and the unconscious mind. So sometimes this could be kind of heavy on your mind. So if you're prone to mental instability, then definitely be very careful around this time. And of course, we're not dooming you to anything. There's no one way that this has to manifest. But if you know that you have certain factors that tend to set you off or put you in a bad way, definitely don't be ignoring those factors during this time. This is a time when you want to be getting your sleep, taking your supplements, doing your therapy, keeping stress low, things like this. So there might be some people that have like a breakdown of some sort, and it could be very extreme, or it could just be, mild. Some people could have a dark night of the soul. Some people could face a fear and then triumph over it. Spiritual breakthrough is just as likely as breakdown. It could be both. It can also be some great awareness about a pattern or some major healing for a transgenerational pattern or something that has been plaguing you, clearing up of an addiction, something like that. It can also bring a problem that is more undercover to a head and out for you and everybody sometimes to see. So I love this energy for, doing inner work, past life regression. Things like that can yield really powerful insights. This could be really a time of insight. So these are the things that are most on my mind for Virgo placements, but I want to tell you next, in the general transits, my favorite dates. There are some really, really good good days. Some of my favorite of the year this month. I'll tell you the days I love for launches. Also days to avoid and to be super careful. You have to be, more mindful of certain things. So let's go into the general transits now. Okay, so now let's talk about the general transits. There are lots of important dates to note, and I'm going to go into the specifics of those now. The theme of the month for all signs is radical new chapters and wide open stars. As I mentioned before, this is truly the energy of a new year. It can be a very clean slate. We've had a year of retrogrades, pretty much focusing on the personal planets retrograde, and this is like a really huge clean slate time. So lots of old patterns, lots of old programming, lots of old ways of being, brilliant new chapters opening. There are so many reasons why there's so much newness. So not only are we free finally from the personal planet retrogrades and their post-shadow periods, as of January 6th, we also have all of the planets, including the outer planets, going direct. So this is a very rare occurrence, and these wide open stars will last until February 18th. So it is important to note, however, that even though we have all this energy from momentum and moving forward, we do actually have quite a few astrological clashes this month. So as far as trying to do important things or move forward, there are definitely going to be clashes and impediments, but still the general energy is just very open, and many things that we've been working on can really manifest at this time in a really huge way. So we talked at length about the eclipses. Besides the fact that the eclipses are happening, bringing in new chapters, ending old chapters, and then also besides the fact that the planets, will be all going direct, also the first 3 full moons of 2019 are all supermoons, and they occur at the first degree of their respective sign, which brings even more energy of a clean slate and the instigation of many new experiences and ways of being, opportunities, trajectory changes, and other new beginnings that we have really sought after, or some that arise as a surprise. I often get the question, what is a supermoon? So the supermoon is when the moon is at its closest possible point to, or very, notably close. You ever notice those moons where you're like, gosh, the moon looks really big. Like, whoa. Like that. Then that often is because the moon is actually closer to us. That's why it looks bigger. So when this coincides with the full moon, then it's called a supermoon. Okay, so supermoons definitely carry some similar energy to the eclipses in the way that there's more power behind the full moon. So more things coming to fruition and then opening up. Basically things coming to a major climax and new things beginning. So powerful endings, powerful beginnings are definitely a theme that we're having from the eclipses and the supermoons. So I'm going to go into details about transits that I want you to be very aware of. And do note that if you want a written version of the general transit report a month early delivered to your inbox, then go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter, and you'll get this information in writing and more. So I list all the transits that are most noteworthy, along with some information about what you can expect. So I won't go through all of them in this video, but if you sign up for my free email newsletter, then you'll be able to see access to them. And a lot of people really like that for planning because you can see when the dicey transits are right there written in front of you, not just hearing it on the audio. Also, if you are planning travel, check out my monthly travel astrology reports on my site, astrologykisstravelbliss.com. And if you like written horoscopes from me, then go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. Okay, so those all will give you tons more information about the transits, how you can best use the energies. So, like I mentioned before, there are quite a few clashes this month, and there's some energy that I would call very sobering. And this is typical of this time of year when aspects get together in the sign of Capricorn. It's kind of very, it's very realist. It's like kind of sometimes time to pay the piper, after the Sag transits of just kind of freedom loving. Now this is the time to get organized, get your taxes together, figure out the financial aftermath from the holidays, So it can come with some sobering or even challenging news, reality checks, but this energy is also fantastic for trying to drill long-term things in to your reality. So like on the 1st and the 2nd, we've got the Sun getting together with Saturn in this Capricorn. This Capricorn energy is the kind of, I don't want to make it mad, but we'll call it concerned energy, where you're like, okay, we really have to get down to business here. So that energy will last a few days, and then there's a square with Mercury. So on the 3rd, and then also again, we have, let's see, on the 8th, and then again on the 23rd. So January 3rd, January 8th, and January 23rd, we have squares with Mercury. So expect on those days possible impediments to movement, some, minor speed bumps, challenges with communication. Could feel like a mini Mercury retrograde. So whenever Mercury gets together in the form of a square, it can cause those challenges. So it's going to, Mercury still in Sag is going to come and square, let's see, Chiron. Then it's going to come and square Mars. Then it's going to come and square Uranus over the month. Okay, so particularly that one on the 8th and then the one on the 23rd. So 1, 8, 1, 23. Be extra careful with your physical body and with driving. And, these are the kind of transits that I say, really look out as you're texting. I'm hoping that everyone would just stop texting while they're driving or riding a bike or walking in busy areas. But since I know that's not going to happen, I at least can give you the warning that in the days around those days, there are more chances for accidents, verbal communication accidents, and also physical body and vehicle, and with your devices, like dropping in the toilet, things that would impede your communication through something happening to the device. So just be really careful around those days, extra so. And always remember that I give you the dates of the transits, but the days that we can experience the transits are often before or after the actual transit, because all of the transits have these orbs of energy. So something happens on this day, sometimes we feel that over here or on the day or some point after, because the range of influence of a transit has an orb, and the orb is dependent upon the planets involved. So, from a day to 4 or 5 days, if we're talking about things with the personal planets, before or after. Okay. That's why I say don't hang your hat too heavily on an exact date. You have to more tune in to the feeling. If there's going to be a sweet aspect, and there are going to be quite a few, which I'm going to have you note here, then if you're feeling the vibes in the days before, you don't have to wait till the exact day of the aspect. If you want to lock something in or do something important, then definitely follow your personal flow, how you're personally experiencing the transits. Okay, one more challenging date of note, and there are actually more that I'm listing, but again, you can go to anniehelpsyou.com and see more about those details. But on January 13th, we have the first of 3 passes of Jupiter in Sagittarius squaring Neptune in Pisces. Okay, so let's look at that here. So Jupiter is here. Neptune is here. Now, also a reminder, I know I've talked about this before, but I want to remind you, when we're talking about general transits, these are for everybody. I tack the general transits at the end of the individual reports. So the general transit that you hear for each sign will actually be the same for all signs. I do that for your convenience, so you just listen to it right after your sign-specific report. When we're talking about the general transits, these houses that these aspects are occurring in don't matter. Okay, we're just looking at the relationship between the planets and not the houses. To understand the houses, that's going to be different for each sign. So just kind of ignore, that's why I've scribbled this out over there. All right, so anytime outer planets get together, they're generally talking about a long-term theme. Okay, so this on January 13th is the first of 3 passes, with the second being on June 16th, and then the third and last being on September 21st. And these are all in 2019. Okay, so it's very well indicated to avoid being overly optimistic at this time, and definitely to avoid risk-taking behaviors that may have worked in the past. This is a time when the expansive nature of Jupiter, it just wants to go big, is kind of put into a challenging angle by this energy of disillusionment or confusion or uncertainty or chaos. And I always see these kind of aspects as nice checks and balances that we have from the universe, because we've been on this big expansion spree since Jupiter has gotten into Sagittarius. And we will continue this for most of 2019, where the energy, is in an expansion mode. Even when Jupiter is in retrograde, which isn't yet, but even during that time, there's this story of expansion is really strong, because Jupiter is in the sign that it rules, which is very excessive in that place. So, in the weeks around the 13th, June 16th, June 21st, these hot spots will last weeks at a time. Just be really careful. It's not always the best time to take risks unless you're intuitively inclined, for sure. The odds are more in favor of disappointment now than triumph. I see a positive way to look at this transit, as it helps to show the limits of the expansion that is occurring, because we can't just keep expanding indefinitely in all areas without having a rest or having a check-in or checking sustainability for the things we've, expanded into. It's very helpful for us to have this okay, let's take a step back and evaluate and prepare for future expansion by seeing, if we can manage what we've already done. So we need to have form and structure. We need to have structure to be in form. And so the energy, being very upward moving, this is a time when we're kind of settling into the new norm and taking a break from the frenetic pace of increase. And actually doing that purposely can be a sweet way to avoid lessons from this. Okay, so now let's talk about the juicy stuff. All right, let's get this out of here. I want to talk about my favorite aspects of the month. There are quite a few nice aspects this month, but most of them are coupled with challenging aspects on the same days. So there's kind of this sweet and salty going on a lot of the month. But towards the end, put a gold star around the 22nd. Okay, on January 22nd, Venus, where are you, buddy? All right, so Venus is going to come and get together with Jupiter. So put a big star on the days around this. Now, there are some other aspects around those dates that could be manifesting that could have more challenge. But in general, Venus, ruling love and beauty and money and self-esteem, is going to get together with the great expander. So anytime we have a personal planet, especially Venus or Mercury or the Sun, getting together with Jupiter, it usually means really good news involving money or love, sweet spot, something gelling, money coming in, just something really, really excellent. So I just love that day. Now, if you have to do something business-wise, launching something, oh my gosh, I really love this time. And if it happens to be in anything having to do with Sagittarius efforts, even better. So teaching, learning, speaking, publishing, writing, spiritual pursuits, church-related things, travel, long distance, different countries, different cultures, different languages. There's even more support around those kind of things coming in, news and other things. But you can definitely use it purposely to lock in some good energy. One of those squares I warned you about with Mercury is on the 23rd. So Mercury squaring Uranus. So just, that's going to be happening at the same time. So if things are weird that exact day, don't, just follow your intuition. But I definitely love the energies of this Venus aspect. Now, the two last sweet aspects that are my favorite this month, they're even better in some ways because they're not clouded by another challenging aspect that's kind of stealing some of their thunder. Okay, so let's get that out of there. So on the 25th, we're going to have Mars in Aries trining Jupiter in Sag. Gosh, this little pen is hard to write with. Okay, so Mars, there he is, and Jupiter are going to come together and be in our favorite trine configuration. Okay, and when that happens, that's the sweetest of all astrological aspects. So this is one of my favorite aspects of the month and even the year. Because trines with Jupiter are just awesome. So it's a great day for important things. If your intuition is in agreement and the synchronicities seem to line up, I love this for like launch dates, moving forward, making decisions, you know, and it should be relatively clear from that other aspect that happened on the 23rd, or at least it's diluting. All right, so that's put a sweet spot, sweet gold star there. And then the last aspect is on the last day of the month, that I love, love, love. You can see that the end of the month is kind of more clear in some ways from the general mischief of the month. Also, the eclipses will have happened, so some more clarity might be coming in about those directions. So on January 31st, we have a beautiful Saturn in Cap sextile Neptune in Pisces. Okay, where's our buddies there? Saturn and Neptune. Okay, so sextile is a 60-degree angle, beautiful aspect. And again, like our other aspect that we were talking about with Jupiter squaring Neptune, that's an outer planet challenging aspect. We talked about the implications of that. But this similarly will have 3 passes. Okay, so January 31st is the first pass. The second one is June 18th of 2019, and then the third is November 8th. All right, so on these days, this energy of material gains coming from spiritual focus and pursuits is very strongly brought into the picture. And again, it's like the weeks around this time. So it can also manifest as any beautiful blending of the lesser seen plus the more tangible realms. So this is like a nice bridge time when people who are doing work on the inner planes, doing work with the law of attraction, doing work with, you know, on the levels that are hard to see. Like you could be working really hard and what we call the normal people around you, right, who don't understand what you're doing, might say, you know, everything looks the same in your life. And you say, oh, well, I'm really working. Things are really shifting on the inside. These transits are times when things that you've done on the inner realm can really manifest in a big way. They're like really good affirmations of and confirmations that you're on the right track and that inner work really does work. So I love ending off the month with that kind of awesomeness. And also if you have to plan something important, that is a super sweet aspect to lock in. You know, when you're doing something important, the day you do it on is like a birthday in many cases, depending on what it is. And then that chart, whatever's going on that day, gets locked into the story of what you're doing. That's why doing things, you know, on good dates can be very helpful to the long-term outcomes of what you're trying to do, because you lock in good energy and then that carries, you know, that goes with it for the whole venture. So if you'd like to have a written version of this every month, a month early, go to anniehelpsyou.com. If you are already on my email newsletter list and you're not receiving my emails, I send them out religiously. So definitely check your spam, social, events folders. And if you find them there, move them into your inbox to give your email the, you know, the alert like, hey, I want these in my general inbox, because I'm definitely sending them. So if you're not getting them, then contact my customer service team and definitely first look in those other inboxes. So I hope you love the added effects of the visuals, and definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can see more about booking a private reading with me. I can tell you more about what's coming in the next year from the astrological perspective and all kinds of other things. Also, if you resonate with how I teach and you would love to learn with me, my astrology apprenticeship program is registering now. So definitely Check out my website for details about my astrology apprenticeship program. Also, in the beginning of January, my coach certification and online business course will be registering. I have horoscopes and lifestyle blogs, including astrology for wellness blogs at cozybysweetstarlight.com. And if you're a traveler, check out my astrology travel reports on my website, astrologykissedtravelbliss.com. If you're interested in tarot, you can check out my husband's site. Plus, he also has other information about astrology and some pretty cool offerings. You can check out his website, BR Newman, at iamhelios.com, IAMHELIOS.com. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.